Welcome. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and get ready to travel back to a day in the Middle Ages. But not just any day. Today, you'll wake up in a filthy tavern with no pants and a strange herb in your hand. Before lunch, you'll get cursed by a witch, chased by a priest, and accused of being a heretic because you accidentally insulted a goat. You'll join a traveling theater, escape the gallows 3 times, almost marry a noblewoman, duel over a sausage, and by sunset, you may or may not get beheaded for reasons even the judge forgot. But don't worry, you're safe here. This is just a slow, strange, and oddly cozy journey through the parts of history no one talks about. If you enjoy stories that are weird, slow, and perfect to fall asleep to, support what we do by leaving a like and a comment. It really helps us keep creating these peaceful, ridiculous adventures. And if you never want to miss another sleepy tale, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell like it's the town crier on Mead. Now, let your mind drift into the past, where people got high on herbs, cursed by witches, and sometimes, just sometimes, lost their heads for a laugh. Welcome to How to Get High, Cursed, and Beheaded in the Same Day, Medieval Edition. Enjoy the story and dream of times long gone. You wake up to the unmistakable feeling of splinters pressing against your cheek. The table beneath you is sticky, warm, and smells faintly of onions and centuries-old ale. Your lips are dry, your left ear is wet. You're not sure why. You open one eye. Dim candlelight flickers on stone walls. The ceiling above is wooden and crooked. A large spider watches you from a rafter, silently judging. Around you, the tavern breathes. There's the heavy scent of sweat, smoke, cabbage soup, and something very much like goat. Somewhere, a man coughs violently. Someone else mutters to themselves in what sounds like French, or possibly just drunk gibberish. A chair creaks. You lift your head. It feels like someone replaced your brain with a turnip. Your back cracks loudly. At least one person claps. You look around. The tavern is half full, mostly peasants, a traveling monk asleep in his bowl, and a large woman stirring something in a pot that hisses when it bubbles. You smell yourself. You regret that. Then you realize something important. Your pants are missing. You blink once, twice. Still no pants. You are, however, wearing a hat you don't recognize. It's green, oversized, slightly damp, and buzzing. Possibly alive. Almost definitely cursed. You try to stand, gripping the edge of the table. A mug clatters to the floor. You sway. A child stares at you like you're a ghost, a very sad ghost. You glance at the table. Next to the mug is a small leather pouch. You open it. Inside is a handful of greenish, sticky leaves that shimmer slightly in the candlelight. They smell like mold, moss, and faint regret. You try to remember where you got them. You can't. You vaguely recall a man in a feathered hat, a riddle about soup, and a promise that these herbs would make you see the truth. Or was it lose your shoes? Either way, you eat one. Time slows. The wood beneath you breathes. The spider winks. You blink back. Someone laughs, but it's a chicken. The lute in the corner plays 3 sad notes. No one is touching it. You grin. You are the wind. You are soup. You are extremely high. Then someone screams. It's the barmaid. She points at you with a wooden spoon. You look down. You are now wearing a robe that looks suspiciously like something a priest would wear. There's a fish in your pocket. It's dead, you think. The barmaid backs away, crosses herself, and yells something about the devil's breath. You try to reassure her, but the words come out in rhyme. Unintentional, unsettling. The tavern reacts in unison. Chairs scrape, mugs clatter, someone yells, "Witch!" Someone else throws bread. It's hard and hits your shoulder like a brick. Before you can run, 2 large men grab you by the arms. One smells like garlic and shame. The other has no eyebrows. You are lifted, carried across the tavern like a sacred object. You smile and wave. The door bursts open. You are thrown into the mud outside. It's cold, thick, and familiar. You land with a grunt. A dog licks your ear. You thank him. Behind you, the door slams shut. Inside, someone starts praying. You lie still for a moment, face in the mud. A chicken walks across your back. You feel at peace. You sit up slowly. Your robe is soaked. The hat still buzzes. You reach into your pocket. The fish is gone. You're not surprised. In front of you is a narrow cobbled street. Villagers walk by. Some glance, others stare. A child points and asks if you're the moon. You don't answer. Far down the street, you spot movement. A woman in black with wild hair and a sack of bones tied to her waist. A man with a wooden cross muttering to himself. And just beyond them, a figure sharpening a large axe beside a wooden block. You squint. You sigh. Today is going to be complicated, but you're ready. Sort of. You stand. You wobble. You start walking into whatever comes next. Because in this town, being high, cursed, and nearly beheaded might just be a regular Tuesday. You wander down the muddy street, barefoot, buzzed, and wearing someone else's robe. Your hat hums softly on your head like it's considering flight. You let it. The morning sun filters through the thatched rooftops in pale, sleepy rays. Villagers pass you, offering a wide berth and suspicious glances. One whispers, "He smells like prophecy." You take it as a compliment. Your stomach growls, a loud, mournful groan. You haven't eaten since, well, you don't remember. Possibly since the last century, possibly yesterday. You round a corner and find salvation, a market stall made of rotting wood and too many sticks. It leans to one side like it's ashamed to be upright. A sign swings overhead. Marta's morning mushrooms. Perfect. The stall is unattended. A basket of mushrooms sits on a crooked table. Fat ones, skinny ones, some glowing faintly blue. One of them wiggles. You choose that one. You reach out. Just as your fingers touch the cap, a voice erupts from behind the cart. Touch that one and you'll dream of frogs for a week. You freeze. A woman emerges from behind the stall. Marta, presumably. She is short, wrapped in more shawls than should be legally allowed. Her left eye twitches. Her apron is stained with 100 past soups. She hands you a different mushroom. "This one'll settle your stomach," she says. Then adds, "unless you're cursed." You smile. She frowns. You eat it anyway. It tastes like a bookshelf with a hint of moss. Immediately, your ears start ringing and your vision sharpens. A squirrel across the street winks at you. You feel powerful. Marta raises an eyebrow. "You should sit down," she says. You do. On the ground, in a puddle. "Bad night?" she asks. You nod. She hands you a wooden bowl of something vaguely brown and warm. It steams. You thank her and drink. The taste is confusing. Part cabbage, part despair, but it's warm, and that's enough. As you eat, an old man limps over. He's wrapped in blankets and smells like candle wax. He points at you. "Are you the prophet who sings to chickens?" You pause, consider denying it, then nod. He smiles, drops a turnip in your lap, and walks away. A woman immediately replaces him. Children vanish. Marta shoves her mushrooms under the cart and throws a blanket over your head. "You didn't see me," she whispers. Then she's gone. You sit quietly, under a blanket, holding a turnip and a bowl of questionable soup. The bishop arrives like thunder, tall, robed, and dramatically overdressed. Gold chains, pointed hat, a frown sharp enough to slice cheese. He's flanked by 2 guards and a child holding incense. He stops, sniffs. "Something smells like heresy," he says. You try to blend into the mud. It doesn't work. He steps toward you, points a jeweled finger. "You," he says. "Do you commune with mushrooms?" You consider this, then reply, "Only during breakfast." Gasps. 1 guard faints. The bishop's left eye twitches. He leans in, sniffs again. "You smell like unbaptized soup." You take that personally, but stay silent. The bishop raises a hand. "I sentence you to cleansing." You don't know what that means, but it sounds cold. Before he can say more, the goat headbutts him, hard, right in the shins. The bishop crumples. The guards panic. The child runs off with the incense. You take the opportunity, grab the bowl, the turnip, and run. Back through the market, over a cabbage stand, into an alley. You dive into a barrel and breathe through the soup spoon. Moments pass. Footsteps. Shouting. A distant scream about divine dairy, then silence. You emerge, covered in soup, holding your breakfast, still high, still cursed, still entirely pantsless. The day continues, and you have never been more proud of a goat. After your dramatic escape from the bishop's breakfast ambush, you stumble uphill, still soup-stained, mildly glowing, and holding a turnip that you've named Gregory. You are determined. You don't know about what, but it feels important. The road ahead bends into a forest path. Twisted trees line the edges, their branches reaching like nosy fingers. Birds chirp ominously. A squirrel throws a pebble at you. You apologize. Soon, you reach a clearing. In the middle, crooked and slouching, stands a hut. It's made of wood, moss, and architectural bad decisions. A cauldron boils outside. It bubbles ominously. You feel seen. You knock. The door opens itself, because of course it does. Inside, it smells like lavender, pepper, and accidental fire. The room is circular, packed with glass jars, dried herbs, chicken bones, and frogs that seem very judgmental. A black cat looks up from a pile of scrolls and rolls its eyes. Then she appears, the witch, tall, wiry, wrapped in layers of fabric and sarcasm. She has one blue eye and one green. Both are tired of your nonsense. She looks at you, up and down, pauses at the soup stains, the hat, the turnip. "Let me guess," she says. "First time in the village?" You nod. She sighs. "Name?" You shrug. She writes down Gregory and nods at the turnip. You explain that you might be cursed, or high, or maybe both. Also, someone called you a prophet for yelling at soup. She chuckles. "You're not the strangest I've met." Then she mutters, "Close, though." She gestures to a stool. You sit. It creaks. So does your spine. She throws 3 herbs into a bowl, lights something on fire that smells like toast and betrayal, then begins to wave a chicken foot over your head. The chicken foot is still attached to the chicken. It looks annoyed. You try to stay still. The room starts spinning. The hat on your head begins humming again. Gregory, the turnip, starts to vibrate slightly. You both pretend it's normal. She peers into your eyes, mumbles something in Latin, spits in a bowl, adds a mushroom, tastes it, winces, adds salt. Finally, she steps back, hands on hips. "I see what's going on here," she says. "You're carrying chaotic energy." You nod. "That's what I told the bishop." She ignores you. "You've stepped through a crossroads of fate," she continues. "Touched the wrong herb, insulted a goat, and now the universe is confused about what to do with you." You apologize to the universe. She waves a hand. "It's fixable," she says, "but it'll cost you." You reach into your robe, offer her a soggy crust of bread and half a copper coin. She blinks, then laughs, then coughs from laughing. "Fine," she says, "but in return, I'm going to curse you." You stare. "I thought you said you'd help." "I am," she replies, "but creatively." She reaches into a dusty drawer and pulls out a scroll, unrolls it, blows off a bat. She dips a quill into green ink, begins writing in a spiky language you don't recognize. You squint. "Is that a contract?" "No," she says. "It's a surprise." When she finishes, she places the scroll in a jar, seals it with wax, and puts it on a shelf labeled mildly dangerous. Then she pats you on the head. "There," she says. "It'll take effect when it's funniest." You are not comforted. She hands you a cup of something steaming. It smells like burnt cinnamon and nervous energy. You sip. Your eyebrows tingle. You feel briefly fluent in bird. Outside thunder rumbles. The witch nods, satisfied. "Your fate is now deliciously unstable," she says. You finish the cup, thank her, bow awkwardly. She winks at Gregory. As you step outside, the door slams shut behind you. Your hat whistles. Your turnip glows faintly. You are still cursed, still soup sticky, still 100% unsure what just happened. But the witch liked you, sort of, and that's something. You walk back toward the village. The sky darkens. A single raindrop hits your nose. Somewhere in the distance, a goat laughs. You return to the village feeling refreshed. Sort of. Your shoes are still missing. Your hat is humming again. Gregory the turnip seems heavier than before. Probably emotional baggage. The street is quieter now. The bishop and his goat-based humiliation have become tavern legend. Children draw pictures of your escape in the mud. You sign one with a stick. You are famous now. You decide to lay low, take a break, maybe nap in a barrel. Instead, a man in a brown robe appears in front of you, hooded, bearded, eyes wide and shiny, like someone who hasn't blinked in 3 years. He grabs your wrist. "You smell like sin," he whispers. You blink. He sniffs you. "Definitely sin. Possibly soup." You don't respond. He introduces himself. "Brother Corvinus," he says. "Monk, seer, pancake enthusiast." He pauses, points to your forehead. "Do you know you're glowing slightly?" You didn't, but you nod politely. He mutters a prayer under his breath, draws a chalk circle around your feet, then shouts, "Demon!" You freeze. People peek out of windows. A dog hides behind a bucket. Before you can protest, Brother Corvinus pulls out a scroll, starts reciting loudly in Latin. Something about fire, brimstone, and aggressive chickens. A bell rings. Not a good bell. A heavy, serious, someone's about to get splashed kind of bell. From the chapel, at the edge of the square, emerges the priest, Father Theobald. He walks like someone who's very sure God owes him a favor. Long robes, a hat shaped like a bell tower, eyebrows like angry hedgehogs. He stops in front of you, squints. "You again," he mutters. You try to smile. You fail. Brother Corvinus whispers in his ear, points to you and to Gregory, and then does a dramatic swirl with his arms. The priest frowns. "You commune with vegetables?" You shrug. Gregory pulses slightly. Father Theobald claps his hands. 2 very tired-looking altar boys roll out a large wooden tub. It's full of something sloshy and sparkly. You get nervous. "Holy water," the priest says. "Extra strong," he gestures. The monk nods. Together, they lift you, robe and all, and drop you in. The water is cold, very cold. It smells like mint, incense, and mild revenge. You yelp. They start chanting. The monk throws salt on your head. The priest dunks you again. You come up sputtering. "Demon, be gone!" they shout. You sneeze. The water sizzles. Steam rises. Gregory falls in with a splash. He floats, looking unbothered. The priest gasps. The vegetable is immune. You're dunked again. This continues for a while. You lose count after the 6th dunk. You start naming the splashes. Splashy, Greg, wave of repentance. Eventually, the priest pauses, stares into your eyes. "Do you renounce your wicked ways?" You consider your options, then nod and burp. Holy water sprays out of your nose. The monk yells, "He's releasing spirits!" The altar boys run. A chicken explodes through a window. No one knows why. You climb out of the tub, dripping, soggy, half saint, half salad. The priest makes the sign of the cross in triplicate. A monk bows and whispers, "May your path be squishy." You pick up Gregory, who now glows slightly. The hat hums in harmony. You walk away slowly, each step squelching. A choir of wet sandals and confusion. You don't know if you're cleansed or cursed twice, but you do know this: the holy water probably wasn't vegan. And next time someone offers you a mushroom for breakfast, you'll still eat it, but you'll chew slower. You walk through the village, still slightly damp and now partially steamed. People avoid eye contact, not because they're afraid, but because you're dripping holy water and muttering in rhyme. Gregory rests in your arm. He's getting heavier. You wonder if he's absorbing knowledge or just soup. You pass a market stall. A sausage rolls off the table. You catch it instinctively. A miracle. Then a voice roars. "Thief!" A large man charges toward you. He is bald, angry, and smells like pork left in the sun. "That's my sausage!" he bellows. You look at the sausage, then at him, then at Gregory. Gregory glows faintly. It's clear. This is destiny. You explain very calmly that the sausage rolled into your hands as a divine sign. He isn't impressed. "I challenge you to a duel," he yells. You pause, look around, check for other witnesses. A dog nods in support. The man steps back, grabs a leek. It's his weapon of choice. Respect. You pull out your wooden soup spoon. It's dented, sacred, and smells like destiny. The villagers gather. A ring forms. Someone begins humming a chant. A small child shouts, "Let them fight!" You both bow formally because you are civilized. The duel begins. He lunges with the leek. You block with the spoon. A satisfying thwack echoes across the square. You step left, twirl dramatically, knock over a turnip barrel. The crowd cheers. The farmer swings again. You duck, lose your hat. Gregory gasps. The spoon meets the leek midair. A spray of onion vapor fills the space. Both of you cough. He charges again. You sidestep, tap him on the shoulder. He spins, trips, falls into a cabbage cart. Silence. Then applause. The village erupts. A small woman places a crown of dandelions on your head. The sausage is declared neutral territory. The farmer stands, brushes off cabbage, grunts. "Fair fight," he says. Then, with surprising dignity, offers you a prize. He hands you a single onion. You accept it like a king. Gregory seems pleased. You hold it up. The crowd cheers again. Someone starts playing a lute badly. 2 geese start dancing. You bow. Thank your opponent. He nods, then punches a melon and walks away. You sit on a crate, breathing heavily. The spoon trembles slightly in your hand. Warrior fatigue. A child asks if you'll duel again tomorrow. You say only if the sausage chooses you. They nod, understanding the way of destiny. You inspect your onion. It is firm, fragrant, possibly enchanted. Gregory glows a soft pink. You hold both proudly. A strange man offers you a bowl of soup as tribute. You accept. Around you, the market resumes, as if nothing happened. Except now you're known as the sausage duelist. You like the title. The mayor of the village approaches. He is short, round, wears a belt with no pants. Odd. He thanks you for bringing entertainment back to the town. hands you a ceremonial rock. You accept it with the seriousness it deserves. You wander off, onion in one hand, turnip in the other, feeling like a medieval legend, the kind that confuses historians. You pass a well, wave at a pig, sit under a tree to rest. A breeze rustles your robe. You hum a battle hymn to yourself. Gregory hums in sync. The onion remains silent but powerful. You don't know where the day will take you, but you know this. You fought with a spoon, defended your honor, and earned a vegetable. Not many can say the same. You close your eyes, let the breeze carry your thoughts. Tomorrow is uncertain, but today you were glorious and hungry. You bite the onion, regret it instantly, but still glorious. You awaken beneath the tree where glory was achieved. The morning sun tickles your face. Your robe is damp with dew. Your turnip is under your chin. The onion missing. You search the grass, the pouch, the air. Finally, you spot it, resting beside a sleeping goose. The goose opens one eye, nods. You retrieve the onion, peace restored. You wander back to the village square. People wave. One calls you Saint Spoon. You try to correct them. They cheer louder. You pass the bakery. The smell of warm bread nearly knocks you over. Steam billows from the windows like holy smoke. You stop, stare, drool slightly. The baker spots you, a large man with hands like loaves and a forehead that glistens with butter. He narrows his eyes, points dramatically. "The visionary returns," he bellows. You blink, you nod, because denying things has never worked. He rushes from the shop, throws a fresh roll at your feet. You flinch, then pick it up. It's warm, delicious. You forgive him immediately. A crowd forms, mostly because people love drama, and slightly because you are holding an onion like it's the Holy Grail. A child shouts, "Tell us what the clouds mean." Another asks, "When will the ducks rise again?" You are confused. Then someone whispers, "That's him, the prophet who defeated the sausage demon." You realize they think you can see the future because you once caught a sausage with divine timing and fought honorably with a spoon. You try to explain, but as you do, your hat lets out a high-pitched squeal. The crowd gasps. A woman faints. It's unclear why. You are hoisted onto a crate. 2 goats circle you reverently. A man offers you 3 walnuts for a vision. Another asks if you can bless his kneecaps. You hesitate, then bless them. They glow. Probably coincidence. The baker steps forward, his apron stained, his gaze intense. He holds up a loaf shaped like a swan. "This came to me in a dream," he says, and now you appear, holding the onion of wisdom. You try to hand him the onion. He refuses. Instead, he bows and declares, "This man has been sent by the bread gods to judge our pastries." Cheers erupt. Someone tosses flower petals. You cough on one. Then, a twist. A rival baker appears from the dark side of the square, his arms crossed, his face stern. He wears a cape made of oven mitts. "This is madness," he growls. "He's just a soup prophet. He knows nothing of croissants." Gasps. A duel of dough is imminent. Before things escalate, You attempt to escape, but your sandal gets stuck in a bun. Classic mistake. The rival baker shouts, "He cannot be trusted. He once put jam on garlic bread." The crowd turns. Their cheers become murmurs. A goose honks threateningly. Suddenly, flour flies. A baguette is thrown. You're tackled by two grandmothers. Someone yells, "Arrest the flour heretic." The bakers seize you, tie your hands with licorice string, march you toward the bakery dungeon. You did not know that existed. Inside, it smells like cinnamon and betrayal. They lock you in a proofing chamber. Gregory stares at you from a shelf. You sigh. You whisper to your turnip, "Never trust a man with butter on his chin." Gregory agrees. You are alone, breadless, wrongly accused, but somewhere in the darkness, the onion glows faintly, and you know this isn't over. Because prophets may fall, but legends rise for second breakfast. You leave the bakery dungeon with the quiet dignity of someone who survived both drowning in holy water and a sausage duel. Gregory rests in your arm like a glowing vegetable of destiny. The onion is tucked into your robe, close to your heart, or maybe your stomach, hard to tell. Your hat hums softly, guiding your feet with a mysterious, possibly vibrating energy. Wandering the village outskirts, you hear it, a sound, gentle chanting, not menacing, not quite musical, more like a group of very serious people murmuring bedtime stories. Curiosity leads you to a mossy courtyard hidden behind a crooked chapel. Dozens of hooded figures form a circle around a stone pedestal. Torches flicker. On the pedestal, a painted cloth ripples in the wind. It shows your hat. You blink. So does Gregory. A tall woman in silver-trimmed robe steps forward. She raises both hands and speaks. "The hat-chosen one walks among us once more." The crowd gasps in unison, then kneels. A goat somewhere in the back also kneels. You are unsure how. You try to speak. Actually, I think there's been too late. They are already surrounding you, chanting joyfully, reverently. A young acolyte places a pillow on the pedestal and gestures for you to sit. You do. Your hat gives a soft harmonic buzz. The people whisper, "The sign, the sign." You sneeze. The courtyard falls silent. Then the leader nods. The cleansing has begun. You are not sure what cleansing, but it's too late now. You sip the sparkling purple drink handed to you. It tastes like fermented starlight and disappointment, but you smile anyway. It's what prophets do. As your toes warm from the drink, or maybe from rising divine energy, your hat begins to glow faintly. The crowd bows lower. One follower whispers, "He illuminates from the scalp." They hand you a staff. Atop it, a carved onion. You nod solemnly. Gregory pulses with approval. A bell rings in the distance, 3 times. Apparently that means divine confirmation. Candles are lit. A small goat is crowned with dandelions and parades through the crowd. You're not sure why, but you feel honored. The leader, now standing directly in front of you, reads from a scroll. "When the turnip glows and the hat sings, the chosen one shall guide us through the night of crumbs." Everyone applauds. You nod, then try to speak again. "Hi, Just to clarify, I'm actually not. A large pastry is shoved into your mouth. Eat the blessing bun, they cry. You chew. It's both sweet and spicy, filled with mysterious nuts and maybe enlightenment. You give a thumbs up. They chant louder. Someone behind you starts playing the lute poorly. A child taps a pot in rhythm. The music is terrible. The energy, impeccable. A woman with a smudged eyebrow leans in and whispers, "You'll lead the ceremony of whispering kneecaps tonight." You nod vaguely. Gregory pulses again. You're not sure if it's excitement or warning. The ceremony begins. They escort you to a throne made entirely of bread loaves. Some warm, some mysteriously damp. It creaks ominously beneath you. The crowd forms rows, murmuring incantations while rubbing their knees. Apparently, it helps with prophecy reception. They pass you a scroll and a small goose feather quill. Write your vision, they say. You look at the blank parchment. Gregory glows. Your hand moves. You write, "Soup shall unite the forgotten." The moment the ink dries, wind gusts through the courtyard. The torches flicker dramatically. Your hat spins. Gregory sings a high-pitched hum. The crowd gasps. Someone faints near the goat. The leader raises the onion staff and shouts, "It has been written." You are lifted once more. Your seat bread squishes under pressure. You do not resist. You are one with the yeast. Someone places a necklace of bagel fragments around your neck. Another offers you a sacred ladle. You accept both with calm grace. Then the leader approaches. "The moon rises," she whispers. "Tonight you shall receive the vision." You're guided to a sleeping platform made of old blankets and oat sacks. You lay down. Gregory nestles beside you. The hat hums you a lullaby. Sleep comes quickly. Your dream is vivid. You float above the courtyard. Below, the cult dances in slow motion. The goat flies. Gregory speaks Latin. Then, a booming voice. "Beware the one who kneads without permission." A puff of flour fills your vision. You wake with a start. They're all standing around you, silent, expectant. You sit up slowly. Your hat glows red, then green, then purple. You clear your throat. "The vision," you say gravely, "was deeply confusing." The leader nods. "As it should be." You are given a robe with more pockets than you could ever fill. They name you High Prophet of Crumbs and assign 3 goats to your service. You bow. The crowd bows lower. The leader whispers one final request. "Please return someday. You have brought laughter, sleep, and mysterious energy." You nod. You leave the courtyard with a ladle in one hand, turnip in the other, hat singing softly. Behind you, they begin singing a lullaby in your honor. You are a legend of bread, of hat, of questionable prophecy. And as the sun rises, one thing is certain. You still don't understand what happened. But it was weird, slow, and oddly comforting, just the way it should be. You walk through a quiet glade, following no path in particular. The hat hums a lullaby. Gregory, cradled in your arm like a warm root baby, pulses faintly. Your new robe has far too many pockets, most of them containing crumbs. Behind you, the colt's chanting fades with the morning mist. Before you, the world opens into a rolling meadow, full of strange rocks and small, suspicious holes. You're feeling reflective. What is destiny? Why does your back itch? What happened to that goat with the dandelions? You reach a mossy stone wall. Old, circular, deep. A well. You lean forward, peer in. Whisper a polite, "Hello?" Your voice echoes back, far, far below. Then, your foot slips. Your robe catches the rim. Gregory leaps. Your hat flutters, and down you go. You fall for what feels like hours. You pass a nest of pigeons, an entire laundry line, and someone's floating teacup. Then, thunk. You land in something surprisingly soft. Pillows, hundreds of them. You blink. A tiny lamp flickers above, a faint smell of cinnamon and mildew. Then, the rustle. Small shapes gather in the corners. A dozen figures step forward. Rats. Not ordinary rats. They wear cloaks. Little glasses. One has a monocle. The leader, distinguished by his tiny hat and soft red scarf, bows deeply. "Welcome, O surface tumbler," he says with a squeaky elegance. "We are the Well Council. Might we offer you a tea?" You sit cross-legged as a rat in a waistcoat pours chamomile tea into an acorn cap. It's oddly relaxing. The Well Council gathers around on matchbox seats. Tiny candles flicker. Someone offers you a sugar cube. You decline. Gregory accepts on your behalf. The leader introduces himself. Sir Whiskerfield the Modest, keeper of crumbs, lord of the left tunnel. You nod. They all bow. You feel underdressed. Sir Whiskerfield clears his throat. For generations we've watched the surface dwellers, waiting for the one who falls without screaming. The rats nod solemnly. A small rat coughs politely into his paw. You shift. I didn't know screaming was optional. Sir Whiskerfield waves a paw. We admire your restraint. And your hat. It hums with purpose. Gregory emits a pulse. Your hat sparkles slightly. The rats gasp. Another rat, wearing what appears to be a button as armor, steps forward. We must test you, she squeaks, to prove you are the Prophesqueak one. You nod slowly, naturally. The test begins. A polite staring contest with a guinea pig, a maze made of thimbles, and finally, a ceremonial cheese sniff. You pass all three, barely. The council applauds. Sir Whiskerfield steps forward with a scroll. Your destiny begins now. You must help us recover the lost crumb of peace. You accept. The room dims. The candlelight flickers against tiny helmets. Follow us, he says, to the pantry of trials. You breathe deep. Gregory glows. The hat hums a chord in D minor. You march forward with an army of polite rats, and you realize this might be the strangest adventure yet, and possibly the coziest. You emerge from the rat tunnels wearing a sash made of twine and a brooch shaped like a cracker. Gregory glows faintly, now dusted with parmesan. Your hat hums a royal tone, a solid D sharp. The sun greets you like a torch with bad timing. You find yourself outside a small village with oddly symmetrical buildings. Every fence is painted the same shade of confused oatmeal. You take one step forward. A scream, then gasps. People bow. One child cries, "It's the Duke." Another whispers, "He returns. The prophecy was right. Behold, the crown of felt." You try to protest, but your hat slides dramatically down one side of your head. The villagers gasp again. A goose salutes. Before you know it, you're on a litter made of barrels, being carried into the village square. Trumpets sound, though badly. Someone throws petals, or possibly stale cereal. A frazzled man in velvet pants appears. He bows. You have returned your sleepiness. You blink. "I'm not a duke, Of course not," he says, laughing nervously. All part of your incognito strategy. Brilliant, as always. You're ushered into a hall that smells like gravy and political confusion. The Duke's seat is a barrel with a cushion on top. Gregory approves. The council stands before you, 5 elders, 1 talking parrot, and a taxidermied squirrel named Clarence. You're asked to make your first decree. You panic. Then you blurt, "Longer naps. For everyone?" A roar of approval. One elder cries, "You've accidentally begun a revolution." Later that afternoon, you are led to the town square to, quote, "bless the people's traditions." Gregory rides in a pouch. Your robe has been upgraded with gold buttons and a pocket full of almonds. There's a strange energy in the air. You ask why everyone's gathered. The velvet pants man smiles. "For the grand cheese fencing tournament, of course." You squint. "Cheese what?" Too late. 2 opponents step into the square. Each wields a 2-foot aged cheddar block on a stick. Crowds cheer. Bets are placed. You try to stop it, but an old woman hands you a whistle carved from parmesan. "You're the referee," she says. "You know the rules." You absolutely don't. The match begins. Cheese splinters fly. One man pirouettes. Another slips on a brie. You shout, "Point for Flair!" They erupt in cheers. A small booklet is handed to you. It reads, "The Official Duke's Cheese Code, 147th edition." You glance through it. Rule number 9. All ties must be settled by cheese duel at sunset. Rule number 17. No mozzarella during Lent. It's official. You're presiding over a tradition older than most trees. You declare a winner. The loser bows. A small goat gives a victory speech. That evening, you are summoned to sign a parchment. Legalization of cheese fencing. it says. You blink. I thought it was already legal. Your word makes it permanent, the elder says proudly. You've united the Kurd clans. You sign. The villagers cheer. Fireworks, or just aggressive sparklers, light the sky. You're crowned the nap-time regent. You fall asleep mid-toast. Gregory takes a tiny bite of cheddar. All is well. The morning is suspiciously quiet. Too quiet. Gregory shifts uneasily in your robe pocket. Your hat gives a low, minor key hum. You've left the cheese-covered village behind. Your reputation there? Legendary. Your robe? Still smells of camembert. You walk along a dusty path lined with shrubs and occasional banjos. Yes, banjos, just lying there. Abandoned? Or waiting? Then, faint music. Not exactly in tune, not entirely bad, but undeniably energetic. You crest a hill and see them, a group of mismatched musicians on a creaky wagon, a man playing the bagpipes with his nose, a woman strumming a harp while balancing a goose, a child banging two ladles together, rhythm optional. They see you. They wave. The music halts. A tall man in a tunic of too many colors hops down. You look melodic, he says. You blink. What? He throws a tambourine at you. You catch it. It jingles. Gregory pulses with approval. Welcome to the spicy folk, he declares. The others cheer. Before you can explain that you are not, in fact, musical, a hat is placed upon your hat. It jingles more. You are now officially part of the troupe. The wagon lurches forward. You are handed a triangle. You miss your first note. They cheer anyway. As the sun sets, you arrive in a small village. A sign reads, "No loud things allowed." Perfect. The spicy folk whisper excitedly. Time to perform. But little do they know. This concert is about to cause a revolution. The town square is suspiciously tidy. Villagers move quietly, tiptoe-like. Even the birds chirp in whispers. Your troupe sets up on a crate stage. A child hands you a dulcimer. You nod solemnly, as if you know what that is. The leader, his name might be Biscuit, clears his throat. "Let us rattle their peace," he whispers. You open with a gentle jingle of your tambourine. The harpist plucks a single dramatic note. The goose honks in harmony. A crowd gathers. You strum your dulcimer. Once. Badly. But with conviction. Then, chaos. The bagpipes explode into action. The ladle drummer loses his mind. A woman begins interpretive dancing with two radishes. The townspeople freeze. Then, a child claps. Then, another. A baker tosses a muffin in the air. A sheep kicks over a bucket. Suddenly, the mayor rushes in, red-faced and furious. "You dare violate the quiet decree?" Biscuit turns to you. "Play the rebellion chord." You have no idea what that is, so you hit every note at once. The sky doesn't split open, but the crowd goes wild. The mayor drops his monocle. Someone paints a goat. A man shouts, "I've always wanted to sing about cheese," and does. The square erupts into joyful noise. You, unwilling leader of a musical uprising, raise your dulcimer high. Gregory glows like a torch. Your hat harmonizes with the triangle. The spicy folk cheer. You've done it. Accidentally. The town is free, loud and just a bit weird. You sleep that night in a haystack full of applause. The village still echoes with the sound of your rebellion. You leave the spicy folk behind. Biscuit gives you a harmonica you didn't ask for. Gregory glows steadily. Your hat is now decorated with tiny bells and 3 buttons from someone's coat. The path ahead smells of leaves and roasted turnips. Then, pumpkins. Hundreds of them, piled high, stacked on fences, carved with strange frowns. You approach cautiously. A man emerges from behind a vine wall. His hat is made of pumpkin. Not pumpkin-themed. Actual pumpkin. "Who dares enter my patch of cursed harvest?" he snarls. You smile. "Hi, just passing through." "You mock me," he yells, brandishing a trowel. Gregory blinks. You step back. "I was once the greatest autumn wizard," the man hisses. "But then came you, with your hat, your goat songs, your triangle." "I never played goat songs." "Silence!" He chants something that rhymes with beetroot and throws a squash at your feet. Suddenly, you feel different, heavy, sticky. You look down. You're slowly turning orange. You're being pumpkin cursed. He cackles. "Only one path remains. Win the festival dance-off, or remain a gourd forever." You stare. "A dance-off?" He nods. "With my goat. Her name is Beatrice. She's a legend." From the barn emerges a goat with tap shoes and dangerous eyes. You gulp. Gregory pulses. Your hat shrinks slightly in fear. This is your fate now. The village gathers in the clearing. Torches burn. Drums pound. Pumpkins glow ominously from every corner. Beatrice the goat stretches her hooves. A hush falls. The pumpkin farmer claps twice. Begin. Beatrice launches into a tap-dancing frenzy. She moonwalks. She spins. She does a perfect goat split. The crowd gasps. A small child weeps. Your turn. You step forward. Your robe billows. Gregory pulses a bass line. You try your best. A hop, a shuffle. You kick one leg too high and nearly lose your shoe, but your heart is in it. You clap on beat. Your hat jingles. The harmonica in your pocket wheezes in sympathy. The goat narrows her eyes. She tap kicks a pumpkin into the air and bites it mid-spin. You cartwheel. Badly. The crowd gasps again. Then you pull out your secret move, the whispering onion. You spin. Gregory glows. Your robe flutters. You bow. Beatrice freezes. The crowd erupts. Someone faints. The pumpkin farmer drops his trowel. The curse lifts. Your skin returns to normal. You are no longer slightly gordish. The farmer sighs. You've bested Beatrice, fair and square, and with flair. He places a pumpkin crown on your head, a token of his respect. You nod. Gregory glows with pride. You leave the village under a sky full of stars and squash-scented wind. Your hat hums a victorious jig, and you are still undefeated in dance. It's foggy, the kind of fog that clings to your eyebrows and makes cows look like monsters. You walk slowly, Gregory tucked in your cloak, hat tilted just so. You pass through a crooked gate into a village called Snoot Hollow. The houses are tilted. The people are not outside. A boy sees you and screams. You didn't say anything. You were just walking. A woman drops a basket of apples. Sweet lanterns above, it's the wandering whisper. You blink. The what? Before you can clarify, someone faints. You step forward. More screams. Apparently, your jingly hat, misty robe, glowing turnip, and the fact you haven't slept properly in days makes you look very ghost-like. They run inside. Windows shut. Doors slam. You are alone. But not quite. A man appears from the fog. He's old, wears 12 scarves, and smells faintly of soup. Are you the spirit of the sleepy times? He asks reverently. You sigh. No, I'm just... He doesn't hear you. He bows. He kneels. He offers you a bowl of porridge. Word spreads. The ghost walks among them. Children leave muffins on doorsteps. Elders whisper prophecies that sound suspiciously like bedtime stories. You're given a bed in the chapel, made entirely of wool and goose feathers. Gregory glows gently. Your hat hums something melodic. You decide to go along with it. For now. In the morning, they've erected a statue. It looks like a potato with a hat. But the plaque reads, "The Sleepy Guardian." You're led to the town square. Everyone's dressed in pajamas. A small choir hums lullabies. You sip warm cider. A councilwoman announces, "Today begins the festival of Phantom Peace, in honor of our friendly ghost." You raise a hand. "I'm not actually a..." They shush you with smiles. You must rest. You do so much. They gift you a robe of mist and socks made of owl fluff. A parade begins. Children wear glowing hats. Goats wear blankets. Someone juggles turnips. Then, a rival village shows up. They heard there's a ghost. They want their own. Things escalate. Both towns want ghost blessings. You're pulled in two directions. One side offers stew. The other offers tea. Gregory glows nervously. You decide to float between them in slow motion. Your robe flows. Your hat jingles like a distant dream. Everyone gasps. It works. They unite. A truce is declared. A giant nap is taken on the field. You drift away as they sleep. Statues wave. Candles flicker. You walk out of Snoot Hollow a legend. They'll tell stories of the whispering spirit who just wanted snacks. Gregory hums. You smile. You weren't a ghost, but you were something magical, and possibly a little haunted by comfort. The morning air is light and buttery, tinged with the scent of chimney smoke and slightly overcooked eggs. You wander through a sleepy meadow, wrapped in the misty afterglow of your ghostly reputation. Gregory emits a warm flicker every few steps, like a portable fireplace that occasionally hums. You come across a signpost that reads simply, "Laundry left too long will be assumed lost to magic." You blink. Behind the sign is a clothesline, well, more like a clothes system. Robes ripple gently in the breeze, each embroidered with complex symbols and glittering runes. Socks float in formation. There's a pair of trousers doing squats by themselves. A small crate sits beneath it all. A note reads, "Please fold if borrowed. Sincerely, Mervyn, the mostly reasonable." You consider. Your current robe is covered in soup stains and at least one questionable leaf. So, naturally, you take a robe. It's the one with stars stitched in cobalt thread and a collar that hums faintly when touched. You feel instantly taller. Gregory pulses. Your hat hums a warning tone in E minor, but you continue on. By noon, you've wandered into a forest where the trees lean in like they're trying to gossip. Suddenly, crack. The ground trembles. A portal opens with a burp. Out bursts a man with a beard so long it's wearing its own boots. His robes swirl with sparkles and irritation. "You," he bellows, "laundry thief, rune robber, button bandit." You freeze. "That's my robe," he snarls. "You activated the hem." "I was cold," you reply helpfully. He snaps his fingers. The trousers from earlier appear behind him, angry, airborne, and flapping like bats. "Prepare," the wizard growls, "to be pantsed by justice." Gregory retreats deeper into your pocket. You are now running from magical trousers, through a cursed forest, while wearing a robe that sings opera in Latin. Your life has taken a turn. You sprint through the forest, dodging branches and the occasional floating sock. The trousers give chase, leaping, lunging with flair. They're faster than expected, and louder. Every time you stumble, they do a victory twirl. The wizard follows at a slower pace, yelling things like, "You'll wrinkle the prophecy!" and "My spare cloak holds the recipe for eternal hummus!" You reach a clearing. There, a pond shaped like a spoon. Its surface is perfectly still. You dive in. The robe inflates slightly. Gregory lights the way underwater like a mystical flashlight. The trousers hover at the edge, baffled. One tries to swim, then drowns in dramatic fashion. You emerge on the far side, soggy but free. Almost. The wizard appears above you, floating on a cloud shaped like a recliner. He squints, then sighs. "You look ridiculous," he says. "So do your pants," you reply. He smirks. "You could have just asked, you know," he mutters. "But no, you had to trigger the hem of activation." You apologize, offer him Gregory in a gentle gesture of peace. Gregory glows, then plays a soft lullaby from your pocket. The wizard blinks. "Is that a turnip?" You nod. He laughs. "Well, I suppose I can forgive one laundry mishap. Besides, the robe fits you oddly well." He flicks his hand. The trousers collapse. The robe stops singing. You're given a magical sash made of polite mist as a truce gift. He flies off, leaving a note. "Next time, Fold the socks. You continue your journey, now slightly more sparkly and slightly afraid of pants. The forest has changed. The trees are closer together now, whispering like they know secrets about your past. Gregory hums nervously. Your hat tightens, just a little. You've entered the territory of the tiny judgers. At first, you see nothing unusual, just moss, fallen leaves, and the usual sense that someone is watching you from an acorn. Then, the net. You're hoisted into the air in a matter of seconds by a trap made of twine and good intentions. Tiny voices rise from the underbrush. There he is, caught in the act. He looks guilty. You're not sure what you're guilty of yet, but the squirrels are certain. They wear little robes made of velvet leaves and acorn caps shaped like helmets. Their leader, a gray elder with a monocle carved from a snail shell, approaches. You stand accused, he squeaks, of forest fraudulence, hat-based deception, and 1 count of mystical meddling. You blink. I haven't even... Silence! Another squirrel squeals, whacking a gavel made of a carved walnut. You are lowered into a hollow tree stump. 12 squirrels sit in a semicircle above you, each holding a gavel, a snack, or a tiny scroll. The trial begins, says the elder. Prosecution, state your case. A young squirrel with a scar over one eye and far too much dramatic flair leaps forward. This individual once fed our kind salted nuts, salted, and wore a robe that disrupted our seasonal rituals with sparkle. You try to explain. I thought they were enough, another gavel. It becomes clear. This is less about law and more about drama. Gregory flickers like a bored candle. Your hat droops with shame. Then the elder declares, you may defend yourself through interpretive dance. Your blood runs cold. The clearing goes silent. A circle of mushrooms glows faintly around the trial stump. Squirrels take positions. One begins to play a tiny drum made from bark and old raisins. You stand. Stretch, roll your shoulders. This is happening. Gregory flickers with something resembling encouragement. You begin slowly. A sweeping arm to symbolize misunderstanding. A deep crouch to represent apology. A sudden spin, your hat flies off, gasps, the squirrels lean in. You transition into the wounded turnip, a bold choice. It involves hopping, 3 slow stomps, and a gentle twirl to the ground. The gavel squirrel begins to sniffle. You rise again with the forest's regret. An elegant sway, arms raised like falling leaves. Even your robe seems to cooperate. Then, your final move. The acorn redemption. A backstep, a bow. You hold up Gregory. He pulses blue. The hat lands perfectly back on your head. Silence. Then, guilty, says the judge squirrel. You blink. Wait. Of touching our hearts, he finishes. The squirrels erupt in squeaky applause. Tiny confetti, shredded leaf, falls from the trees. The young prosecutor gives you a reluctant thumbs up. The jury hugs. You're handed a nut-shaped badge of honor. Friend of the Fuzz. They release you with acorn muffins and a small banner that reads, Cleared by Rhythm. Gregory hums a lullaby. Your hat jingles in D major. You leave the forest, pardoned, weirdly proud, and slightly winded.
You've survived the court of squirrels, and maybe, just maybe, earned their tiny, fuzzy respect.
The hills are warmer now. You're following a path that's barely a suggestion. just 2 lines in the grass and the smell of cinnamon. Gregory pulses contentedly in your satchel. Your hat flops to one side like a sleepy pancake. Your robe smells faintly of toast, victory, and turnip, familiar, comforting. The wind carries a strange sound, not quite a roar, not quite a yawn, something in between. The kind of noise you imagine a volcano might make if it was trying to whisper, "Hello." Then you see the smoke. Not dangerous smoke. More like someone left the toast too long and also it's breathing smoke. You follow it through a thicket of polite brambles. A cave yawns open in the hillside like a bored mouth that just woke up from a 300-year nap. Inside silence. Then, at last, a voice booms. A tall woman in armor made entirely of mismatched pots and spoons stands before you. She kneels dramatically, clanging like a covered avalanche. "O great trainer of scales, binder of beasts, murmurer of roars, you've returned." You blink. Your hat flutters nervously. Gregory pulses a confused orange. No need for words," she insists, weeping to her feet and nearly losing a ladle strapped to her shoulder. "The dragon awaits your wisdom." She gestures towards a stone pedestal. On it sits something that looks like a lizard who's read too many romance novels and now has unrealistic expectations about cave decor. It's 3 feet long, shimmering in annoyed gold. Its eyes are lined with something resembling eyeliner. Its wings, too small. Its attitude, immense. It squints at you, snorts, then casually licks a gemstone. "This," she whispers reverently, "is Snorbax III, descendant of doom, eater of slightly overcooked quiche." You nod slowly. The creature lets out a burp that smells faintly of cardamom. You clear your throat. "Right. So, what exactly do I need to?" She claps once. "Babysit." You blink. "I'm sorry, what?" She smiles with the serene intensity of someone who once rode a goat into battle and won. "Only for the day. We have the annual village screaming contest and can't leave him alone." He gets dramatic. Snorbax burps again, but this time it ends in a tiny flame. He looks smug. You're handed a list, a bag of snacks, a whistle made of dragon toenail. Instructions are shouted as she and the rest of the villagers vanish in a cloud of urgency. You are alone, just you, and a tiny, surly dragon. Eventually, you find him sulking on a flat stone overlooking a pond. He's muttering an ancient lizard dialect and sketching symbols in the dirt with his tail. Apparently, he's upset because no one respects his creative decisions. You don't know what that means, but you nod solemnly. You offer to draw with him. He agrees, after a long sigh that could wilt parsley. You doodle a duck. He draws a majestic firestorm overtaking a village of spaghetti. It's kind of moving. You compliment his shading. He chirps. Progress. By mid-afternoon, he's curled up on your lap like a heated pillow with claws. Gregory glows gently nearby. Your hat hums something vaguely jazzy. It's peaceful. You tell Snorbax a story about the time you accidentally danced your way out of a squirrel tribunal. He giggles, a sound like a kettle boiling sideways. He tries to tell you a story back. It involves a cursed candlestick, a sarcastic weasel, and something called the Forbidden Wiggle. You don't understand most of it, but the passion? Impeccable. Then he sneezes. A small, controlled burst of flame hits your sleeve. He gasps. You're fine, but he begins to cry. tiny dragon tears that sizzle as they hit the stone. He hides his face behind a claw, sniffling. You pat his head. "I've done worse," you whisper. He curls closer, a faint shimmer of smoke rising from his nostrils. For the first time, he looks relaxed. Evening arrives. You prepare dinner, roasted mushroom puffs and toasted thistle crackers, as per his dietary scroll. You eat under the stars. Snorbax hums as he chews. You catch him smiling when he thinks you're not looking. Then, out of nowhere, he flies. A short, wobbly hop of a flight, but it's airborne. He lands on your head, triumphant. You let him stay. Voices echo in the distance. The villagers return, hoarse from screaming, holding banners and half-melted ice sculptures. You stand. Snorbax stands taller. The armored woman beams. How was he? You shrug. He's moody. He's loud. He's brilliant. She nods. Like his mother. Snorbax chirps proudly. They thank you with a bag of roasted chestnuts, a scroll that declares you honorary scaler of reptiles, and a novelty mug that says #1dragonwhisperer. As you leave, Snorbax climbs a rock and waves dramatically. Gregory pulses with pride. Your robe smells like toasted adventure. You weren't just a babysitter. You were a dragon's favorite. Mean to wander into the village of Thimbleshire. You're following a scent. Warm, buttery, impossibly comforting. The kind of smell that tucks itself into your memories and whispers, "You are home." Gregory pulses faintly in your pocket. Your hat flops in approval. The road curls like a cinnamon roll, leading you into a clearing dusted with powdered sugar. There it is, Thimbleshire. Cottages shaped like muffins, windows steamed with sweet fruit air, flags strung between trees embroidered with tiny pies. And at the heart of it all, a hand-painted banner dancing in the breeze that reads, "Thimbleshire Royal Pie Festival. Contestants welcome. Participation mandatory upon sniffing." You blink. A goat nudges you from behind. There's a scroll tied around its neck. You read it. Too late. You're in. A small woman with a jelly-stained apron greets you like an old friend. "The chosen one arrives," she says with a solemn nod. Then she throws a whisk into your hand and ties an apron around your waist. It smells faintly of nutmeg and expectation. "You'll want table 7, she says, under the bunting with the blackberry crest. Try an adore sharp
as Mattel, as G-able, Montanese are making your school, and a great random and respect to the fellows here. I'm friendly code. One of us behind me, like bold, never gone up, like four, and I just back, cook, which I need. I'm meditative the course. She must have names to be the reasons it so they get I can't take the chair. I'm dead, make him too. That I judge held it flipples that I'm scared and sir, don't rely on them. Just ain't certain it's still I'd pay fit up in a food. She can ain't no business. I'll be wins this evening. Never so many and you have to teach chili got near some of the full of singing not quite what's draw. I've been let the on the married collected ST rack up hitless and I was there reading to eating in rearings lives because choose not sound that just be every day assistant if he have him lay or do nearly not all the meal of the whole end to the when the never bear up man and just same chance me how he all next from ends to be Mrs. Incan as I've spent for reached I mean things and my friends it's one thing I met with shut up the one thing I'm sick of fried and training the gardens there was then my regret laser was like the gore they never could we did you even that steam what is during so pretty well we was my own the biggest event so Miller could it's long it's the bullshit to go and it's not that start out I'll see it are it'll get or even at living your life you should or what club they go big I'm learning on you as me sure you tweeting about me give me a board and off-road shit I will for to hear it me get it I am with you guys zero to creed I'm having a lead letter is not real I'm the chain never they include connect but love of God even I'm like but it's always never was I call very now every do I am king I will make it so it had the ring thing
A man in a powdered wig shaped like a croissant tastes pies with his pinky. A frog in a monocle nods at flavor notes. A woman wrapped in lemon peels sighs poetically after each bite. Your pie is last. They taste. They pause. The earth hums. And then the ground opens. A panel beneath the square shifts. A staircase unfurls, made of biscuit stone and custard mortar. Down below, darkness pulsing like a heartbeat. The prophecy, someone cries. The crown pie has returned. You are hoisted onto a golden tray. Gregory pulses urgently. Your hat plays a single confused note, and down you go. Beneath Thimbleshire lies a kingdom long lost. Walls of marbled cake, doors of caramel oak, statues made of gingerbread and ambition. At the end of the great hall, a throne. Empty until you enter. The pie monarch rises, a living pie, crusted with memory and marmalade. Their voice echoes through icing halls. At last, they say, the chosen crust binder. You are handed the crown, woven from lattice and truth. Rule wisely, the pie monarch whispers. The realm of crustbound is delicate. You nod, because what else can you do? You rule for 12 hours. You decree jam rights. You approve seasonal fillings. You hold a diplomatic summit between shortbread and macaroons. You are good at this. Gregory glows like royalty. Your hat becomes slightly smug. And then at the 12th hour, the pie monarch returns. You've done well, they say. The realm is balanced, the crust uncracked. You return the crown. You receive a pie-shaped medal that says, Sovereign of Sweetness. The crowd cheers as you emerge from the sugar-swirled depths. The village celebrates, the goat bows, Emberlane winks. You walk away with flour on your cheeks and history in your pocket. You ruled. Briefly. Perfectly. And your heart, now and always, smells like pie. Right at this suspicious mushroom. And suddenly, you're somewhere else. A village, built like a memory, smelling faintly of cinnamon and mild secrets. You took a step. Your shoe squelched in approval. A bell chimed. A window flew open. "Mayor Everbright?" someone gasped. You froze. Gregory pulsed a confused lavender. Your hat tilted left as if bracing for impact. An old woman dropped her knitting. A goat fainted. Children began to cheer. You tried to speak, but a child threw flower petals in your mouth. You coughed and were crowned with a daisy wreath. Someone placed a sash on your chest. It read, "Honorary returning temporary mayor. Probationary." A man with a monocle you're fairly certain was a spoon shook your hand and cried, "You've come back," he sniffled. "We knew you would return. The prophecies were vague, but enthusiastic." You nodded, because denying things here seemed rude, and because someone handed you a hot bun, and it was delicious. The town square erupted, lanterns rose, drums played. A woman shouted, "Bring the good jam!" You were escorted to the grand table, which was actually a door on barrels, covered in a napkin. But it felt regal. The crowd chanted, "Mayor, Mayor, Mayor maybe." You raised a mug of pear cider. It foamed with authority. A child climbed onto your lap. "Tell us about the Hedgehog Wars, Mayor." You didn't remember any wars, but you mentioned bravery and jam rations. They nodded solemnly. The council arrived. 12 people in 12 different hats, each one shaped like a vegetable. The leader wore a cabbage. He bowed, spoke in a tone meant for echoing chambers. "We welcome you back to your rightful post. May your reign be gently influential and your paperwork light." You tried to explain that maybe there had been a mix-up, a clerical error, an uncanny resemblance. But the goat nibbled your sleeve affectionately, and someone handed you a clipboard. So you smiled, sat straighter, and asked about the state of the library roof. Applause. Meetings followed, important ones, about bun taxation and squirrel diplomacy. You nodded often, suggested more naps for the elderly, and less shouting at the moon. They agreed, unanimously. The bakers swore you once saved the oven from a vengeful raccoon. You had no memory, but accepted his gift of 3 secret pies. Each pie hummed softly when touched. At dusk, they unveiled your statue, made entirely of turnips in deep respect. You were flattered and slightly allergic. Someone offered to make a scarf from dandelions. Mayors should be warm, they said. A child gave you a pebble. It was shaped like a promise. That night, a feast. Tables groaned with gratitude. Chairs creaked with joy. The fiddler wore bells. The drummer used breadsticks. You danced with the librarian. She spun like wind through old pages. Gregory pulsed a slow, sleepy yellow. Your hat tipped in rhythm. At midnight, they lifted you onto a crate. The baker toasted your wisdom. The cabbage counselor wept. You said, "May your pies never burn, and your goats always find their way home." Cheering, goat bleeding. One lantern caught fire. They called it luck. You slept in the mayor's cottage. It smelled like lavender and faint responsibility. A hedgehog guarded the door. 2 mice snored in the chimney. You dreamt of keys and paper crowns and turnips with very strong opinions. Morning came. You rose with dignity and several crumbs. The village stood waiting, silent, hopeful. You took the stage, the same crate as last night, more wobbly now. You said, "I may not be your mayor, but I am your story." They wept, they hugged. Someone knit you a bookmark. You left, slowly, with honor. They lined the path, waving scones, chanting softly, ever bright, foreverish. Gregory pulsed a goodbye. The goat cried. The baker handed you one final pie. This one whispered your name. You walked on, crumbs in your pocket, in the warmth of a place that once mistook you for a leader and loved you. You are sitting on the floor of the cell of contemplation. It smells less of contemplation and more of damp stone and faint, lingering soap. Gregory, your turnip, rests on your knee. He pulses a slow, rhythmic lavender, as if he is meditating on the very nature of root vegetables. Your hat, which has seen far too much for a piece of felt, is slumped over your eyes. It hums a tune that sounds suspiciously like a sad waltz. You've been here for what feels like a day, or maybe a week. Time moves differently when your only companion is a single, very earnest sunbeam. It appears for 10 minutes each afternoon to highlight a particularly interesting patch of moss on the wall. The silence is broken by the gentle squeak of a key in the lock. The door opens. 2 guards stand there. They look more apologetic than menacing. One of them, a large man with a beard that seems to be fighting a losing battle with his helmet, clears his throat. "Your Holiness," he begins, then coughs. Prisoner. It's time." You stand up slowly. Your bones make a sound like stirring gravel. You pick up Gregory. He pulses a little faster, a worried shade of mauve. You adjust your hat. It straightens itself with a sigh of resignation. The walk to the town square is not a grim march. It is, like everything else in this strange land, a bizarrely polite affair. The villagers line the path, not to jeer, but to offer you solemn, respectful gifts. An old woman hands you a perfectly polished spoon. A child gives you a drawing of a smiling cloud. The baker, the one who previously had you arrested for heresy, now bows his head. He offers you a warm, crusty roll. "For the road," he mutters, looking at his feet. You accept it all with a quiet nod. You are a collector of strange kindnesses. You reach the square. A wooden platform has been erected in the center. It's not very tall. It looks less like a stage for an execution, and more like a place where someone would stand to make a speech about the importance of proper drainage. Standing on the platform is a man. He is tall and surprisingly cheerful looking, with rosy cheeks and a well-maintained mustache. He is polishing a very large axe with a small, soft cloth. He sees you, and his smile falters. He looks nervous. This must be the executioner. He is your uncle. You do not know how you know this, but you do. You are led up the 2 steps to the platform. The guards give you a final regretful look before descending. It's just you, the executioner, and a wooden block that looks very, very old. Right then, the executioner says, his voice a little too loud. Let's get this over with, shall we? Name's Bartholomew, Barty to my friends. He extends a hand, then quickly retracts it. Oh, right. Sorry. Professional distance and all that. You give a small, reassuring smile. He seems more scared than you are. Now, Barty continues, consulting a small, crumpled scroll. You are here today to be executed for, let's see, unregulated holiness, unsanctioned miracles, and, oh, this is a new one, possession of a suspiciously serene vegetable. He squints at Gregory. Gregory pulses a calm, unwavering white. Barty shudders. You're guided to kneel. Placing your head on the block, the wood is cool and smooth against your cheek. Worn down by centuries of similar appointments. You close your eyes. You can hear the crowd murmuring. A single bird chirps. The air smells like fresh-cut grass and impending doom. Barty clears his throat again. He is stalling. Any last words? He asks. A prayer, a curse, a particularly good recipe for stew? You think for a moment, then you say, quietly, may your pies never burn. A hush falls over the crowd. Barty stares at you, his eyes wide. He looks deeply, profoundly moved. A single tear rolls down his cheek and disappears into his mustache. That's the kindest thing anyone's ever said to me, he whispers. He takes a deep breath, trying to compose himself. He lifts the axe. It is very heavy. He positions himself, takes a practice swing, and nearly trips over his own feet. The crowd gasps. He straightens his tunic, his face flushed with embarrassment. Right. Second time's the charm, he mutters to himself. He lifts the axe high. The sun glints off the metal. It hangs in the air for a moment that stretches into an eternity. This is it. The gentle, absurd end to a gentle, absurd journey. Then it starts to rain. A soft, apologetic drizzle. Barty sighs. Right, that's it then. Decapitation canceled due to inclement weather. You are escorted back toward the dungeons. The crowd disperses, muttering about the fickle nature of justice. You escape into the mud. You meet a traveling. You speak only in rhymes. This leads to you being sold at a fair as the man who laughs for no reason. You escape through a tunnel under a sausage stand. You wash yourself in a stream for the first time in weeks. The villagers don't recognize you. They build an altar to you, the pure spirit. This leads to you being arrested again for unsanctioned holiness, which brings you back here to the execution block. The rain has stopped. Barty the executioner looks even more nervous. Right, he says. Take 2. He lifts the axe. He brings it down. Thunk. You feel a dull, disappointing vibration. You open your eyes. You are still very much alive. The axe is embedded in the block, a mere inch from your neck. Barty stares at it, his face a canvas of pure astonishment. From the edge of the square, a regal, bored voice cuts through the air. What is the meaning of this theatrical incompetence? All heads turn. There, seated on a throne, is the king. He looks deeply unimpressed. I came for an execution, not a comedy. My lunch was dreadful. The royal omelet was flat. An idea sparks in Barty's eyes. Your Majesty, he exclaims, this is no mere saint. This is the finest cook in all the land, the omelet prophet. The king leans forward. Is this true? You look at Barty. You look at Gregory. You nod. Excellent, the king declares. The execution is postponed. Take this man to the royal kitchens. If his omelet is fluffy, he shall be my new royal chef. If it is flat, Barty, you will be cleaning the royal stables with your tongue. You are untied and led away, not as a condemned saint, but as a culinary savior. You have been executed and resurrected by breakfast. And as you stand in the royal kitchens, you realize something profound. You are very, very hungry. You are a legend. In the royal kitchens, your name is whispered with reverence. Chefs bow when you enter. Spoons straighten themselves in your presence. You are the omelet prophet, the royal chef. Your life has a new rhythm, a gentle, buttery rhythm. Each morning you make the king his omelet. It is never flat. It is a sunrise on a plate. The king weeps with joy every time. The kitchens are your kingdom, a land of steam and spice, of sizzling pans and simmering pots. Gregory has his own stool made from a flour sack. He glows with a soft culinary light. Your hat hums jaunty cooking tunes. Then comes the decree. The king is hosting the grand royal feast, a dinner to celebrate something. The reason doesn't matter, the food does. The king summons you. Omelet prophet, he says, tonight I require more than perfection. I require a story on a plate. You nod. No pressure. You retreat to your corner of the kitchen. You sit on a crate. You close your eyes. Gregory pulses on your lap. Your hat goes silent, deep in thought. What is a story on a plate? You think of your journey, the tavern, the mud, the witch, the duel, the pie kingdom. An idea begins to form, not a recipe, more of a feeling. A pie that contains the essence of your absurd adventure. You begin to work. The other chefs give you a wide berth. They whisper to each other. He is communing with the flour. You do not use a recipe book. You use memory. You add a pinch of dark soil from a potted plant for the earthiness of that first muddy morning. A single drop of sparkling cider for the surprising fizz of the holy water. A sprig of thyme for the fleeting nature of time itself. And a whisper of onion for the glory of the duel. The main ingredient is a single perfect mushroom, one you found growing in the royal garden. It winked at you. You winked back. You craft the crust with gentle hands. It feels less like dough, more like destiny. You do not shape it like a crown. You shape it like a winding road, a path with no clear beginning and no obvious end. You place it in the oven. The oven, which is usually loud and grumpy, goes quiet. It hums a respectful tune. The pie bakes. It does not rise. It awakens. When it is done, you pull it out. It is a simple-looking pie, humble, brown, but it glows. A faint, gentle light from within. It smells like home and confusion. That evening, the great hall, your pie is brought out. On the silver platter carried by 2 nervous guards, a hush falls over the hall. The pie is placed before the king. He stares at it. He leans in. He sniffs. "It smells," he says slowly, "like me." He takes a slice. He lifts it to his mouth. He takes a bite. Silence. Then the king begins to laugh, a deep, booming laugh that shakes the rafters. Tears stream down his face. "Incredible," he roars. "This is the story of my life, the struggle, the mud of my humble beginnings, the glory of my reign. This pie understands me." The court erupts in polite, confused applause. You stand by the door watching. You did not intend for the pie to be about him, but you nod anyway. The king takes another larger bite. He chews. His laughter stops. He makes a small noise, a cough. He coughs again, harder this time. His face turns a shade of pink, then red. He clutches his chest. Panic flutters through the hall. "The king is poisoned," someone screams. A lady faints. But you know, he is not poisoned. He is not choking. He is having a revelation, and he does not like it. The king recovers. His face is a thunderous purple. He points a trembling finger at you. "This pie," he growls. "This pie has opinions. It is impertinent. It has judged me." The court gasps. The king stands, his voice a shout. "For creating a dish with more personality than the royal council," he declares, "you are hereby banished." You are stripped of your white chef's hat. Your golden whisk is taken. The guards escort you from the hall. No one meets your eye. As you leave, you hear the king mutter, "Bring me something simple, something without a soul, like a boiled potato." You are exiled for making a pie that was too good, too honest. You walk out of the city gates with nothing but your robe, your hat, and Gregory. The road ahead is long and gray. Days later, you find it. A lonely tavern at a crossroads. The sign above the door creaks in the wind. "The Leaky Goat," it reads. You go inside. The innkeeper is a tired woman with kind eyes. She needs help. You need a job. You are hired. Your first task is simple. "Take this bowl of stew to the patrons in the back room," she says. You take the bowl. It is lukewarm. You walk to the back. You open the door. The patrons are goats. A dozen of them, sitting at wooden tables. One is wearing a monocle. Another is patiently shuffling a deck of cards. They all look up as you enter. You walk to the nearest table. You place the stew down. The goat sniffs it, looks at you, and then lets out a look. You are a goat waiter. This is your life now. The work is simple. The customers are demanding. They have very strong opinions about parsley. You sleep in the loft above the tavern. It smells of hay and faint regret. Each morning, you wake to the sound of a rooster. Or maybe it's a goat trying to sing. It's hard to tell. You spend your days carrying bowls of stew, wiping down tables with a damp cloth, listening to the quiet, philosophical bleats of your customers. One goat, the one with the monocle, tells you long, rambling stories about his youth. You think he may have been a sea captain. The world outside the tavern has become soft, fuzzy at the edges, like a memory you're not sure is real. Sometimes you look at your hands and wonder if they are your own. Gregory sits on the windowsill. He glows with a soft, constant light, a small, loyal lighthouse in a sea of goat-related confusion. One afternoon, as the sun hangs low and golden in the sky, You feel a deep, gentle weariness, a pull towards sleep that is stronger than any you have felt before. You finish your work. You say goodnight to the goats. The one with the monocle tips his head in a silent farewell. You do not go to the loft. Instead, you wander out into the field behind the tavern. You find a large, soft haystack. It looks like a cloud that has decided to rest on the earth. You lie down. The hay is warm from the sun. It smells like summer and peace. You close your eyes. The world dissolves, not into darkness, but into light, into moments. You see the tavern where you first woke up, the sticky table, the damp, buzzing hat. It feels like a dream. You see the witch stirring her cauldron. She winks at you. Her curse feels less like a punishment and more like a gift. You see the dueling farmer, the glorious onion, the squirrels in their tiny robes, the pie kingdom with its gingerbread walls and caramel doors, the sad, fluffy omelet of the king. Were you really there? Did you really duel with a leek? Did you really serve stew to a room full of goats? Your hat hums a final soft note, a lullaby. Gregory pulses a warm, steady beat against your chest. Like a second heart, the world fades. The noises of the day become whispers. The whispers become silence. You drift. You float. You are not a prophet, or a cook, or a ghost. You are just tired. A voice, soft and familiar, echoes in your mind. Maybe it is your own. Maybe it is the universe tucking you into bed. For to say you leave the tavern of the discerning goats behind, the road does not call to you anymore. Instead, a quiet path invites you. A path made of moss and forgotten whispers. You follow it. Because you have nowhere else to be. And because it seems polite. Gregory, your turnip, hums a soft, low note from your pocket. A note of contentment, of a journey nearing its rest. Your hat, which has been a king, a prophet, and a dinner guest, droops slightly. It is tired too. It has hummed all the songs it knows for now. The path leads you into a clearing. You have seen many clearings on this journey. Clearings for duels, clearings for trials by squirrel, clearings for pie festivals that were secretly gateways to underground kingdoms. But this one is different. It is quiet. Not an empty quiet. A full quiet. The kind of quiet that holds its breath, waiting for you. In the center of the grove stands a single ancient tree. Its bark is the color of moonlight, its leaves are silver, and they do not rustle, they shimmer. At the base of the tree is a smooth gray stone, shaped like a heart. It glows with a faint, gentle warmth. You feel drawn to it. A sign carved into the wood of the tree reads, "Touch the stone if the story brought you warmth." A little light helps the grove grow. You think of your journey, the taste of the wrong mushrooms, the surprising softness of the tavern floor, the dignity of the dueling farmer, the quiet wisdom of the goat who stared into your soul, the impossible fluffiness of the king's omelet. You smile. A small, tired smile. Yes, the story brought you warmth. You reach out, you place your hand on the heart-shaped stone. It is not hot. It is not cold. It feels like a thank you. As you touch it, a soft pulse of light flows from your hand into the stone. The stone glows a little brighter. A single silver leaf on the tree shimmers with a new light. The air in the grove feels a little warmer, a little more welcoming. You feel a gentle connection to this place, a sense that your small gesture of appreciation has made a difference, that by sharing a little warmth, You have helped this quiet, magical place thrive. You pull your hand away. The stone continues to glow with the light you gave it, a silent testament to the shared moment. You understand now. This is a place where appreciation becomes light, where a simple, quiet gesture of liking something can make the world a little brighter for everyone who comes after. A little further into the grove, you see a small, clear pond. The water is perfectly still, like a dark mirror. Around its edge are dozens of smooth, flat stones. They leave a whisper of where you came from, so the grove may know its friends. You pick up a stone. It is cool in your hand. You think about where you came from. You don't remember the tavern's name, or the village before that, or the life you had before you woke up without your pants. But you remember the journey. You remember the feelings, the confusion, the accidental glory, the taste of the onion you won in a duel. So you lean close to the stone. You don't speak aloud. You think your words into it. You whisper a memory of the pie kingdom. You tell it about the goat who sneezed on the bishop. You mention the squirrel jury and how you almost lost the case. You tell it where you are right now in this moment, listening to the hum of your hat and the quiet pulse of your turnip. You tell it you are here, listening from a world away in a quiet room, ready for sleep. As you think your thoughts, the stone absorbs them. It becomes a vessel for your small story, a piece of your journey left behind for others to feel. You place the stone back by the edge of the pond. It settles among the others, each one a silent testament to a fellow traveler, a quiet chorus of hellos from around the world, a community built on shared whispers. You feel less alone, knowing that others have stood here in this same quiet place and left a piece of themselves behind. You wonder what stories the other stones hold. You smile at the thought of all the sleepy travelers who have passed through. Your feet carry you to the deepest part of the grove. Here there is a small silver bell hanging from a low branch of the ancient tree. It does not sway. It does not make a sound. It simply waits. The sign beside it is the simplest of all. Ring the bell. If you wish to be called back when the next story is ready to be told. This is the bell of returning. It does not demand, it invites. It is a promise of more journeys, more quiet adventures, more chances to get lost in the most wonderful, gentle way. You think about it. Do you want to be called back? To another village of strange rules and even stranger food? To another trial by animals who take their jobs very seriously? To another nap in a haystack that feels like the safest place in the world? Yes. Yes, you do. You reach out and gently touch the bell. It does not ring with a loud clang. It lets out a soft, low chime. A sound like a single drop of water falling into a still pond. The sound ripples through the air, through the trees, through you. It feels like a subscription, a quiet agreement between you and the grove. You have subscribed to the stories. You have asked to be notified, and the grove has heard you. It will remember you, and when the time is right, it will send a whisper on the wind to call you back. You will not miss the next dream. Now, you are truly tired. The journey has been long, the trials have been many, the naps have been few. You see one last wonder in the grove, a small pool of water, shimmering not with light, but with images, the pool of endless stories. You lean over it. You do not see your reflection. You see other worlds, other adventures. You see a glimpse of a story about a lighthouse keeper who guides ships with a magical glowing turnip. You see a story about a quiet librarian who discovers that the books in her library rearrange themselves at night to tell new tales. You see a story about a baker whose bread is so sad it makes people cry with empathy, and how he learns to bake with joy. You see stories of pirates who are afraid of the ocean, of ghosts who are afraid of the dark, of kings who just want to learn how to knit. You see a whole channel of quiet, gentle adventures waiting for you, waiting on the other side of this dream. You understand that this journey is just one of many, that there are more videos, more chapters, more sleepy tales to explore whenever you feel the need to escape. The pool shows you a path forward, a playlist of peace. You have done all you can do in the grove. You have left your light. You have shared your whisper. You have rung the bell. You have seen the promise of more stories to come. Now, there is only one thing left to do: rest. You find a patch of moss beneath the ancient, shimmering tree. It is softer than any bed you have ever known. You lie down. Gregory the turnip settles onto your chest, pulsing with a slow, sleepy rhythm. Your hat slides down over your eyes, a final, gentle good night. The air in the grove is cool and smells of silver leaves and contentment. The light from the heart-shaped stone casts a warm, gentle glow. The whispers from the stones by the pond murmur a soft chorus of hellos. The echo of the bell you rang still hangs in the air, a promise of return. And now, it is time for you to rest too. Your journey is over for tonight. Close your eyes. Let the story fade. Let the quiet of the grove become the quiet of your room. Thank you for walking with us on this strange and gentle path. Thank you for your light and your whispers and your promise to return. We will be here, waiting with another story when you are ready. Until then, sleep well. May your dreams be soft and your awakenings gentle.